Alright, part 173, 306 continued. Part 173, 306 continued. This is 9 types of fire to demonstrate the article relief and pressure um, by means of the biodegradable seal of the pressure relief device of the article, the non-fragment of the article does rock. Players may manufacture the written quality assurance of the program of the monitor's parameters control and bursting strength of the burst mode of the performance and fire situation specified F1, F41, F43, and through F43 with a section of the copy of the quality assurance program must be maintained each of the facility where they accumulate with the manufacturer kilometers containing conforming with the provision paragraph F1 F4. The section may only be transported subject with approval of the associated administrative water pump system tank with the water pump system tank show up with the compressed liquid quantity measured not over 40 psi gauge single trip of the shipment with the installation side with the executive the labeling transported to air not authorized the specification packaging quantities of the subchapter were shipped with the following additional shipments that are not subject to the subpart F of the subchapter part 174 chapter 174 24 1.77 exempt of the 177 8 17. Tank must be sealed well to the head of the concave with the pressure have the rate of water with the capacity of the not exceeding 120 gauge with the outside diameter not exceeding 24 inches safety relief devices not required. The tank must be pneumatically with the test of 100 psi test pressure must not permanently mark down tank. The stress prescribed and pressure not exceed 220,000 psi of the formula. The burst pressure at least 6 times the charge of the pressure 7 degrees Fahrenheit. Each tank must be overpacked with a strong outer packaging according to 173.301 H. The lighter refill the 171.8. The subchapter must be obtained with the ignition element must be obtained with the release device for the lighter refill offered with the transportation of the section that exceeding the 4 fluid of the capacity over the container more than 65 grams of the division 2-1 form of the transportation highway the rail later refill might be tightly packed with security against with the stronger outer packaging for the transportation aircraft vessel lighter refills might be like tightly packed and securely against movement any rigid specification outer packaging authority is part L of the 128 subchapter of the packaging group 2 performance level. Packaging Group 2 performance level exemption for other transportation aircraft exemption with a certain compressed gap with limited quantities of ORMD hazard clear. That's provided in paragraph 1 of the section for highway transportation. No more than 1,500 lighter refill covered in paragraph the transported one motor vehicle with the requirements of subpart C and through H of the part 172, part 177 the subchapter does not apply. Lighter refill for the covered the paragraph that must be packed with the stronger outer package to meet with the general packaging requirements of part B of this part. Outer packaging must be plainly durable marked with the 2 opposing sides and the word lighter refills. Number of the device for the containment in the lighters measuring 79 hundredths of the inch in height. No person may offer the transport lighter refill with the prepared lighter refill with the shipment unless the person have specifically inform the requirements of this section. Limited quantities with conform with the provision paragraph A1, A3, A5. Be exempt with the transportation aircraft paragraph H with the section exempt with the label of requirements G with the material they offer for the transportation transport with the aircraft specification packaging requiring subchapter the package with the combination packaging. According to the paragraph must be marked in accordance to 172, 3, 15, A with B with the appropriate with the authorized paragraph 1, 2 of the section. Otherwise specified in paragraph 1, 2 of the section package of limited quantities intent with the transportation aircraft must be conformed with the applicable requirements. Authorized material enter package of the quantity limits for the closure of the securement of the 173.27 of this part of the limited quantity package of the forms of the provision section is not subject to shipping paper. The requirement of the subpart C with the 172 of this chapter unless the material meet with the definition hazardous substance, hazardous waste, marine pollutants offered with the transportation transported aircraft or vessels with the eligible exemption with the provided with 173, 156 of this part with the outside of the packaging conform with the paragraph that are not required with the marked inside containers to comply with the prescribed regulations. In addition, the packaging with limited quantity is not subject to subpart F. Placarding 172 of the subchapter that each of the packaging must conform with the 2 packaging requirements of the subpart B with this part may not exceed the 66 pound gross weight. Consumer commodities until December 31st, 2020, limited quantity of the package contained with the consumer commodity defined in 171A of the subchapter may be renamed with the consumer commodity that will class the ORMD are until December 31st, 2012. ORMD air material that will offer the transportation transported in accordance with the applicable provisions of subchapter and effectively October 1st, 2010. Aerosol receptacle small containing gap with the capacity less than 50 millimeters. Aerosol with the defined 171A of the subchapter receptacle small with the containing gas with the capacity not exceeding 50 millimeters with a Pressure 9C, the 915 kilo pass out contained within hazard material within Division 2-2, but not subject to the requirements of the subchapter except for the transportation aircraft of the aerosol. The receptacle of the transported cargo that may not be carried on board an aircraft by passenger, room members, and or carrying on baggage, checked baggage, and any other person unless specifically expected with the 175-10 with the pressure limit increase for the 2,000 kilopascals, 131 degrees Fahrenheit, provided the aerosol transported out of pack with the form of the packaging requirements subpart B, but this part of the paragraph J does not apply self-defense spray with the pepper spray with the aerosol with the recycling disposable aerosol defined 131A with the subchapter and 10 with the recycling disposable may be transported under the following conditions. The aerosol with the form of the paragraph A3, A5, B1, B2, B3 of the section except for the label, the requirements of subpart E with the part 172 subchapter specification packaging requirements subchapter when packaging in accordance with the paragraph of the shipping papers, shipping requirements of subpart C with the 172 subchapter of the left of the material meet with the definition of the hazardous substance hazardous waste, the 66-pound gross weight limitation transported motor vehicle for the purpose of the recycling disposal. The following conditions: aerosol must be packaged in a strong outer pack with the stronger outer packaging and contents must not exceed the gross weight of 1,100 pounds. Even the aerosol must be secured with a cap that protects the valve stem, and the valve stem are removed. Each completed package must be marked on the corner with 172.315A, and 4. The packaging must be out for the transportation or transported by a private contractor, motor carrier, the common carrier of the motor vehicle under exclusive and use of such service, such service. Aerosols and with the form of the paragraph A3 and A5 of the section have at the time filling with the leakage they have them properly filled with the otherwise no longer conform of the paragraphs A3 and A5 of the section offered with the transportation transported disposal of the recycling under the condition provided with the paragraph A2. Aerosols are not eligible for the exemption provided in the paragraph A through I of the section except for the subparagraph F of the placard part 172 subchapter packaging. Aerosols must be packaged in metal plastic with removable UN 1A, 1-2, 1B2, and 9-2, 1A. Shoot the drum test the mark with a PG tube performance level of the higher liquids. Each drum must provide with the necessary sufficient cushioning to absorb the material to prevent excessive shifting of the aerosol to eliminate the presence of any of the free liquid at the time drum of the enclosed. So the L cushion absorb the material with the drum must be compatible with the hazard material that's measured within inside of each with the complete with the drum. The time during the transportation may not exceed the design with the test pressure marked on the drum. Hazard communication not with the aim of the marking requirements for the non-packaging. The 172.301 subchapter of the drum must be marked with aerosol salvage drum associated with the required label. The overpacking mark with the requirements 173.25 subchapter does not apply. Metal restriction. The complete with the must be offered with the transportation by the contractor carrier with the highway, rail, vessel, air transportation are not authorized. For additional exemption of the 173.307, the reversal logistics hazard material meeting the definition of the reversal logistics 171.8 of the subchapter complying with this section must be out for the transported and highway transportation accordance with 173.157 for the purpose of the paragraph of the cylinder, including aerosol contained with the assumed with the definition of division 2122 with the respectively if the exact pressure is unknown. 173.307 exemption with the compressed gas. The following materials are not subject to the requirements of the subchapter of the carbonated beverages tires with the inflated pressure not greater than rated inflated pressure. The pressure by air of the tire assemblies must be the condition 175.8b4 with the subchapter rail of the use for the sport balls used for sport refrigeration must include with the dehumidifier, air conditioners, complete components thereof, and such pre-charging tubing container. 25 pounds left of the non-flammable non-text gas with 3 gallons less ammonia solution except for the offered with the transport by air with 25 pounds less flammable non-toxic gas except when offered the transported by air vessels of 44 pounds less than group A1 refrigerator specified ANSI ASHRA standard 15 or 4 ounces left of the flammable non-toxic liquids manufactured article of the apparatus unlike bulbs and containing no more than 100 milligrams in air gas pack such so the quantity in air gas package does not exceed 1 gram. Light bulbs, lamps conforming the quantity 13311. D is reserved. 173.308 lighters. General requirements: no person may offer the transportation transport lighter 171A with the subchapter that contain with the division 2 1 flammable gas material except for the following condition. Lighter must contain the following: fuel reservoir but not exceeding the floor fluid down for the capacity of the and must contain no more than 10 grams of the flammable gases. Maximum filling density may not exceed 85% of the volumetric capacity of fluid of the 59 degrees. Each lighter design, including the closure, must be capable of withstanding without leakage or rupture internal pressure at least 2 times the pressure of the flammable gas, 131 degrees Fahrenheit. Each appropriate lighter design examined the successfully tested person and each of the other authorized testing agency authorized the associated administrator to perform the examination testing under the provision subpart 8 part 107 107 subchapter of the chapter of the equipment necessary to perform the testing required with the level of accuracy required. Enable to demonstrate upon the requested knowledge of the testing procedure requirements of the AHEAD's material regulation relative to the lighters. Do not manufacture the market lighter of the financially dependent upon those of the own in any of the part entry manufactured market lighters. It is a resident of the United States, performs all of the examination testing according to the requirements of the paragraph B3 and 4 of the section. Associated administrator will assign the identification to each person who authorized to examine and test the lighter for the identification code for the incorporated into the unique test pressure and identify whether each successfully tested lighter design. Examination testing lighter of the design testing type of the lighter design type definition new lighter design one of the have never been examined and tested one for the difference previous design in any manner with the effect of the capage, escape of the leakage of the gas lighter characteristics that may affect with the escape that include with the chain of the materials with the construction ignition mechanism the burn valve the design wall thickness and sealing material the type of the fuel with the vapor pressure differences. Lighter sampling submitted with the examination of the testing sample of the new lighter design with respect to the requirements A4 through D. The section may be offered for transportation. Transported with the following conditions. Samples must be transported only an authorized testing agent. No more than 12 lighters may be packed in a single outer packaging. Inner packaging must conform to the requirements paragraph C of the one of the section. For transportation, aircraft and intermediate outer packaging must meet with the pressure of the differential requirements of 173 to 177C of this part. Outer packaging must conform with the requirements of subpart M of the 178 subchapter of the packaging group 1 performance level, the requirements 173.24. The word sample must appear with the shipping papers of the part with the proper shipping name and the association basic description. In addition to the other required part, marking labels in the packaging marked for the sample of the examination testing. All other applicable requirements for the subchapter must meet with the examination testing sample of the authorized testing agent. Sample and lighter must be examined with the conformance of the paragraph A with the section person authorized by associated administrator of the lighters must be subject to the following leakage test. Minimum 6 lighters must be examined on the list with the one at the time of the sense of the lighter is the desiccator with a for the 24 hours after drying, whichever the lighter with the analytical balance capable accurately measuring 1/10 of the milligram after the wing of the place of the lighter together the explosion proof of the controlled temperature laboratory oven capable of maintaining 100 plus or minus 10 degree plus or minus 2 degrees 96 consecutive hours 4 days and with 96 hours to remove the lighter with the oven plate for them in the same dissociator allowing the lighters to cool with the ambient temperature after the cooling which either the lighter with the defined the new weight difference for each lighter tested and subtract the mass the after oven pressure oven exposure original mass have the over exposure weight loss must be determined with the quantity of gas leak of the lighter from the weight of the chain with the result of the absorbed moisture. Net weight with the increase of the test facility must be run with the repair testing using 6 empty light with the pair, while the 6 filled light with the parallel tester connected and determine the weight of the moisture absorbed in plastic in order to determine the weight of the loss of the lighter with the gas leakage. If the net weight lasts for the 6th lighter with exceeding 20 milligrams, the design must be rejected. Lighters manufactured the rejected lighter design not offered with the transportation, transport, and commerce, and when left the others shall written the associated administrator. 4. Record keeping requirements. Following the examination for each of the new lighter design with the person age of the conduct of the examination test must be the test report. Make the test report available to the manufacturer. Minimum the test report must contain the following information: name and address of the test facility, name and address of the applicant. Test report identified by the authorized personnel agency identifying a code immediately filed with the alphanumeric identified by 4 more character of the design with the special lighter design the authorized personnel agency. The where LAA is identification code assigned by the authorized agency, associated administrator of the 444 quadruple asterisk is replaced with a unique testing report identified at the time of the specific lighter designed by the authorized person or agency. Manufacturer of the lighter for the foreign market manufacturer U.S. agent importer must be identified. Description of the lighter design, the type of the model, design, ignition mechanism, reservoir capacity, lot batch number, and sufficient detail to ensure the conformance with the paragraph B43. Section. A certification authorized by the test agency lighter design with the forms paragraph A of the section passes does not apply path to the required leakage of the paragraph B of the section. For as long as the lighter design production for at least 3 years thereafter, a copy of the lighter test of the must report with the maintained authorized testing agency perform the examination testing manufacturer of the design foreign action manufacturer if the test of the report must maintain the inventory with the paragraph of the foreign material manufacturer U.S. agent importers. Test reports are traceable with the specific lighter design must be made available to prospective representative of the department upon request. Transitional provision under January 1st, 2012, approval of the numbers issued with the Associated Administration prior to January 1st, 2000. May continue with the marked on the package denoted with the shipping paper with applicable day after the time the previously issued for approval will no longer be valid. Each of the lighter design currently in producing production and re-examine the test and provision section. Packaging requirements and containment. Letters must be placed in packaging that is designed to Prevent movement lighters and inadvertently ignition with the leak of the ignition of the device with the gas control level. Each of the lighter must design securely sealed and taped. They otherwise fasten the package and protect against the accidental function of leakage for the content of the during transportation. Lay the package vertically with the plastic of the plastic fiber board paper partition must be used to prevent friction between the ignition of the device and the inner patching. Outer packaging lighters of the inner patching must be tightly packed with security against the movement with a rigid specification. Outer packaging is authorized in subpart L of the 178 subchapter of the packaging group 2 performance. Shipping papers and marking with the addition of the requirements of subpart C, part 172 shipping paper that been noted with the lighter design test report identified in subpart B for or 1C with the section traceable with the test of the report. And signed to the layer of the if an applicable to provide previously listed and approval of the number of the association and basic description. In addition to the requirements of subpart D172 the lighter design of the report identified with paragraph B14, B41C, and the application of the previously issued for the approval of the number of the T triple asterisk might be by the mark for the containing lighters. Transportation by vessel, clothes, transportation vehicle, or clothes freight container following the warning must be affixed to the access door. Warning may contain the explosive to make sure the air of the keep the ignition source away from the opening of the warning must be also be the contrasting background must be in the end letters of the half-inch height. Exemption for the common contract carrier carriers of the highway transportation common contract with more than 1,500 lighters covered the section and transport of the motor vehicle. The requirements of subpart C through H, part 172, part 177, and subchapter do not apply. Lighters transported in accordance with the paragraph of the except for the specification packaging shipping paper the market with the requirements specified in 173.308 C and D with the inner packaging must conform to the paragraph C1 with the section lighter must be the further the packaging rigid the stronger outer package to make meeting general packaging requirements of subpart B with the 173 outer packaging must be plainly durable marked for the two opposing side of the end of the word lightly. Lighters and normal devices detaming the letters measuring 79 of an inch. In addition, the package must include test reporter identifier in each lighter design specified in paragraph B41C section if the applicable the previously issued approval number test reporter identified with the approval number of the made durable and legible the English located with the attached and more directly the package no person may offer the transportation and transport light to prepare letter shipment unless the person that has been specifically informed of the requirement section. Private carriage, highway transportation, private carrier, lighter with examine the successfully tested and conform to the section and not subject to all the other requirements of the subchapter under the following conditions. No person may offer transportation transport lighters prepared with lighters and shipment unless the person has specifically informed of the requirements of the section. Lighters must be placed in the inner package of the design to prevent accidental activation, ignition of the device and valve with the release of the gas. Any movement of the lighters and inner packages must be placed securely closed with a rigid outer pack with lemons back. Must move them with the inner package to protect from the damage of the outer packaging may contain no more than 300 lighters. Transporting vehicles may not carry more than 1,500 lighters at any with the time the lighter may not be played with the outer packaging with the other hazardous material. Outer packaging with the plane with the dirty marked with the words lighters expected quantities. Alright, 173.309, fire extinguisher. Section apply with a portable fire extinguisher, the manual handle with the operation fire extinguisher, the installation of aircraft, the larger fire extinguisher, the larger fire extinguisher, include the extinguisher mounted with the wheel of the manual handling the fire extinguisher, equipped with the machinery mounted with the wheel of the playable platforms, unit transportation, similar small trailers, fire extinguisher composed of the non-rollable pressure of the equipment of the handle example for lifting, forklifting, crane and loaded, unloaded specification 3A, 3A, 3E, 3AL, 4B, 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 240, ET, 4BW, 178, 36, 37, 42, 46, 50, 51, 55, 61, subchapter cylinder, the authorized remanufactured fire extinguisher under the following conditions. Extinguisher engines must be non-flammable, non-poison, corrosive, commercial, 3 of the corroding components. Each fire extinguisher must be charged with non-flammable, non-poison, dry gum. Gas the dew point of the below 52 minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 1 amperes, free of the corroding component that will more than surface pressure of the cylinders. Fire extinguisher may not contain with the 30% of the carbon dioxide volume of the other corrosive extinguishing agent. Each extinguisher must be protected externally by suitable corrosive resistant coating. Specification 3A, 4BA specification cylinders must be packed in strong, non-bulking outer package. The outside of the combination packaging must be marked with an indication that inner packaging conform with the prescribed specification. Specification 2PQ 178 33 3A with the subchapter inner non-refueled metal packaging and the authorized fire extinguisher subject to the following conditions. Extinguisher agent that must be non-flammable, non-poisonous, not corrosive. The defined subchapter liquid portion of the gas plus any additional liquid solid may not be completely filled with a package of the 130 degrees Fahrenheit. Pressure for the packaging must not exceed 181 psi gauge, 130 degrees Fahrenheit. Pressure of the exceeded the 130 degrees Fahrenheit does not exceed the 160 psi gauge and 130 degrees Fahrenheit specification. .2P intermiddle will not be with the pressure of exceeding 160 psi gauge at 130 degrees Fahrenheit. Specification 2Q interpedal Packaging must be the metal. The packaging must be capable of withstanding without bursting with the pressure of 1.5 times the equilibrium pressure contents of 130 degrees Fahrenheit. Each completed inner packaging filling of the shipment must have been heated with the pressure of the container, the equivalent equilibrium pressure contents of 130 degrees Fahrenheit without the device of the leakage, distortion, or other defects. Specification 2B, 2Q cylinder that must be packed with a strong non-bolting outer pack with the outside of the combination packaging must be marked with an indication of the inner packaging form of the prescribed specification, non-specification cylinder they authorized for fire extinguisher following conditions. Extinguisher agents must be non-flammable, non-poisonous, non-corrosive, defined in subchapter. Internal volume in each of the cylinder not exceeding 1,100 cubic feet of the fire extinguisher, not exceeding 55 cubic inches for the capacity of liquid portion from the glass. Any of the additional liquid solid must not completely fill the container. 130 degrees Fahrenheit fire extinguisher exceeding 55 cubic inches in capacity may not contain liquefied compressed gas. Each of the fire extinguisher manufactured on and after January 1st, 1976 of the design fabricated with the burst from the pressure of the line less than 6 times charge pressure of 70 degrees Fahrenheit was shipped. Each fire extinguisher must be tested without evidence of air challenge of relief 3 times the charge pressure for the 70 degrees Fahrenheit, not less than 120 degrees PSI gauge. Initial shipment that must be marked with an indicator your test within 90 days of the actual date of the original test. Within the meets of the dots requirement of the mark and consider the certification of the. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to. That's not the sentence I'm reading. I'm going to converse. I have Tourette's, and they finally fucking broke the wall. It's not funny. This marking considered certification fire extinguisher manufacturer according to the requirements of the section. The word extinguisher meets all the requirements of Title 49 CFR 173.306 made display of the fire extinguisher manufactured prior to January 1st, 1976. Non-specification fire extinguisher must be marked with the inner package of the combination outer package. Example: the acceptable outer package of the non-specification fire extinguisher includes large carton racks, cages that are suitable enclosure for any subsequent shipment. The fire extinguisher must be compliant with which you have the equipment of the Occupational Safety Health Administration Regulations, Department of Labor, Title 29 CFR 1910-157. Limited quantity fire extinguisher other than conforming to the paragraph A and B, C of the section in charge with the limited quantity of the compressor of the gas not more than 240 psi gauge, 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Except the shipping paper, except for the offered with the transportation aircraft of the vessel, labeling except for the offered with the transportation aircraft of the regarding the specification packaging requirements subchapter are eligible to exemption, providing 173, 156. The offered of the transportation according to the paragraph D with limited quantity shipment to conform to the paragraph are not subject to 174, 177 the subchapter transported by highway or rail and just limited quantity packs of fire extinguisher of the subject of the following conditions. The rapidly extinguishable agent must be non-flammable, non-poison, non-corrosive. Divine and subchapter packages are marked in specified limited quantity 172, 315 subchapter. Large fire extinguisher be transported and unpackaged with the following conditional requirements of 173.24 B with the meeting of the valve with the protected in accordance with 173.301 B, C, 2, 1, and 3, and 4, and 3 and 5. Other equipment on the fire extinguisher is protect with the prevent accident activation. Alright, 173.310 the exemption of the radiation detector. Radiation electron tube to the tube device of the ionization chamber that refer to the radiation detector to the name of the only of the division 2 gap non-refillable cylinders exempt with the specifications packaged with the subchapter except for the transported by air labeling placard requirement of subchapter when designed and packaged with the transporter is followed. The radiation detector must be single trip hermetically sealed welded middle inside container that will not be fragment and upon the impact. Radiation detectors must not have the design pressure exceeding 725 psi gauge capacity of the 731 cubic inches must be designed and fabricated with the burst pressure not less than 3 times the design pressure. Radiation detector is equipped with a pressure relief device not less than 4 times the design pressure if the detector is not equipped with the pressure relief device. Radiation detector must be shipped in a stronger outer package and capable of withstanding the drop of that at 4 feet without breaking the radiation detector with the rupture outer packaging. The radiation detector is part of the equipment. The equipment must be packed with a strong outer pack. The equipment itself must provide the equivalent level of protection. Emergency release information accompanying each shipment available to such for the emergency release response telephone number. The radiation detector must identify a receptacle that not fitted with the representative relief device provided with the appropriate guidance to exposure to the fire. Subject provided paragraph F of the section transporter cover the section must be known within shipping paper of the radiation detectors, including detector radiation detection system, subject to any other requirements subchapter, including shipping paper of the detectors requirements of paragraph A and through D with the section of the capacity of the detector capacity receptacles of 1.7 ounces. 173.311 metal hydride storage system. The following package instruction applicable to UN metal hydride storage system with a pressure receptacle not exceeding 150 liters with water capacity. The maximum developed pressure not exceeding 25 maximum capacity cells. Metal hydrated storage system must be designed with constructed initial inspected and tested in accordance with the ISO 1610011 as authorized under 17871M of the subchapter. Steel pressure receptacle clouds of the various pressure receptacle steel liners must be marked in accordance with 173.311B. After this part specified the steel and pressure receptacle layering of the high mark must be the hydrogen bearing gas. Other gas that may be hydrogen brittle with requalification intervals must not more than every 5 years, specified in 180.207 subchapter. In accordance with the requalification procedure ISO 16111. Alright, 173.312. The requirements of shifting MEGC should general requirements of the unlifted otherwise with the MEG authorized by the shifting of the liquefied and non-liquefied compressed gas. The pressure receptacle contained in the MEGC must meet the requirements in 173.301, 301B, 302B, 304B. Example, MEGC must conform with the design, construction, inspection, testing requirements prescribed in the 178.75 subchapter. No person may offer the except that has material of the transportation MEGC damage to the surface extent of the integrity of the pressure receptacle. The MEG structure of the surface equipment may be affected. No person may fill the offer of the transportation pressure receptacle MEG pressure receptacle with the MEGC due to the periodic requalification prescribed in subpart C, part 180 subchapter. However, the restriction does not preclude the transportation pressure receptacle fill with the offer of transportation prior to requalification due date. Prior to filling offering with the MEGC transportation MEGC structural surface equipment. The visual inspection and intake of the condition must be corrected before MEGC off the transportation. All required markers must be legible. Except Division 2.2, permanent gap that exceeds for the pressure receptacle must be equipped with the individual shutoff valve, but it must be tightly closed within transit Division 2.1.2.2. The liquefied gap 2.3 with a manifold must be designed so that each of the pressure receptacle can be filled with a separately keep isolated with the valve with the capable of being closed during transit. For Division 2.1, pressure relief receptacle must be isolated with the valve within 10 assembly not more than 3 liters. The filling of the MEGC may not be filled with a pressure greater than the lowest part marked per working pressure for the end of the pressure receptacle MEG may not filled with the marked maximum pressure gross marks. Vary each of the following shipment, but it must verify the the closure equipment. Each of the filing opening must be closed in cap plug. Damage protection. Due to transportation, MEGC must be protected against the damage of the pressure receptacle of the surface equipment, the resulting lateral longitudinal impact overturning prescribed 178.75 subchapter. 173.313 UN portable tank table the liquefied compressed gas with chemical under pressure. Unportable tank of the table with liquefied controlled compressed gas with chemical under pressure for the ref 172.102C73 subchapter portable tank sheet for the transportation liquid compressed gas to the compressed under pressure table apply with liquefied compressed gas for the chemical under pressure that are the identified special provision 250 column 7 172.101 has material addition with the providing with the UN identification number the proper shipping name of the table to provide with the maximum allowable working pressure bottom opening requirement the pressure relief device requirement degree filling requirement to liquefied compressed gas with the chemical under pressure permitted with the transportation 250 with the portable tank if the minimum test pressure for columns of the small medium of the portable tank with a diameter 1.5 meters left of the measure of the widest part of the shell of the sun shield means the portable tank with the shield with the cover to leaf the up third of the shell and bare means no shield with the insulation provided the insulation means complete cladding sufficient transportation insulating material may be necessary to provide minimum conductance with not more than 6 watt meters killed. Kiloed. In pressure relief, the requirements column of the word normal denotes the fragnal disc specified in 180.78.276E3 subchapter is not required. And then we go through some more charts. We're back. Alright, 173.314, compressed gas in the tank with the car with the multiple unit tank with the guard. The definition of compressed gas 173.115, general requirement the tank with the guard containing the compressed gas but not shipped within until the last they are loaded with the consent of the owner of the all the tank that must contain them capable of combining chemical must not be loaded with any of the gases which combine chemically with the gas previously loaded in until they all will remove the interior tank through thoroughly clean. For tank of the .106.110, the class of the tanks must be placed with the position attached to the car structure other than by the shipper with the word approval of even part regulation. It means approval of the Association of American Railroad Committee of the tank of cars prescribed 179.3 of the subchapter. Each tanker car, even the transportation and hydrogen ammonia, material beneath the criteria division 2, 1, 2, 3, of the gasket manway, cover the plate for the aim for mounting, fitting is designed for the temperature, application, media pressure, size, create the positive seal with the under the conditions normally incident with the transportation there will the identified relief of the material of the environment to the environment, the use of the seals installed gasket and prohibited authorization gas filling limits for the tanker car, compressed gas of the tank car, multiple tank cars must be offered for the transportation course with the statute 173.31 of the section age of the listed and below with the load offers of transportation according with the following table. And it shows this table. Alright, alternative tank car tanks, material of the poisonous inhalation, and alternative authorized tank car with the specification noted with the column 4 of the table in the paragraph C section. Same authorized tank specification must be next lower test pressure prescribed in the column 5 of the table of 179.101 may be used to provide both of the following conditions are met. The difference between the alternative of the required minimum plate with the thickness base of the calculation prescribed 179.106 with the subject of the alternative of the tanker car jacket, the hand shield. The jacket of the hand shield are made with an authorized seal with a minimum tensile strength of 700 psi, 800 psi required minimum thickness calculation based on the test. Seal minimum tensile to 81 psi of thickness to be added with the jacket and head shield will be increased with the factor of 107 1.157 in line with the head but do not require the consider of the calculation thickness of difference in prescribed paragraph. The tanker car jacket that holds and head shield may be manufactured with carbon shield with a seal plate with the prescribed 179.107 in the subchapter. Verification of content of the amount of liquid gas loaded with each of the tank car determine either measure for the calculation whether except for the specification tanker cars tanks authorized for the transportation and homogeneous ammonia solution may have the amount of liquid loaded the tanker car measured with the metering device command performance in paragraph E of 2 of this section. Metering device. Tanker car loading for the anhydrous ammonia with the ammonia solution through the use of the metering device. The conformance for the section does not require the weight of the must have the outage measure the magnetic guiding device to determine the tanker car capacity properly. Loading conforms to paragraph the written procedure. The loading of the tanker car using the meter device to develop and made available at each of the locations such loading takes place. Certification, writing, inspection, completion of the loading and unloading procedure that must be maintained each tanker car maintained in accordance with the recording requirements of the paragraph E2 through the section. All of the necessary records must complete with the minimum of these procedure specifies. A tank car must be offered for transportation conformance of all the applicable government regulations and the defects from which the tank is examined. The shipping with the note accurate the tank must be loaded until the repair is eliminated with each of the defects completely. The tank car must be allowed with undisturbed for at least 10 minutes after loading into the level of the material of the tank of itself. After having they occurred with the final check with the leaks, it must be conducted with the prior to offering the tank with the transportation. All of that 1 hour of the every tank with cars load with the utilizing determined metering device date must be gauged utilized with the fixed the gauge equipment of the tanker car verifying the calculation amount with the anhydrous ammonium citrate containing the tanker car. Record keep the following information must be maintained and made available to represent with the dot. Upon record that each of the tanker car used the metering device date loaded, date shipped to the tanker car, reporting marks dot, specification tanker car stencil shell capacity gallons liter, tanker car stencil tear weight pounds kilogram, outage inch table number of the water capacity tank of the pounds and kilograms, maximum permitted filling density 173.314 special gravity anhydrous ammonia solution reference temperature of the tanker car, outage inches meters gallons liters of liquid ammonia tanker car, quality vapor ammonia with the tanker car gas and gallons liter the tanker calculated ammonia liquid and vapor the tanker car pounds and kilograms. 5F reserve the special requirements for the hydrogen chloride refrigerated liquid and volatile fluoride stabilizer. The shipment will notify the Federal Air Administration whenever the tank of the car is not received, consigned within 20 days of the day of the shipment. The notification Federal Air Administration made of each for the HMA assist at FRA.gov 202-493-6299. Tanker car containing hydrogen chloride refrigerated liquid must have the auxiliary valve, the pressure relief device closed during transportation. C-139-102-17 with the subchapter of additional requirements. Alright, tanker car containing the hydrogen chloride refrigerated liquid must be unloaded to the extent that any of the residual remaining tank of the refrigerator reference temperature that is 90 degrees Fahrenheit will accumulate with a reclosing pressure relief device. Special requirements of liquefied petroleum gas organization of liquid. Liquefied petroleum gas must be orderized, required for the paragraph to indicate the possessor of the distinctive odor with the presence of the gas down with the concentration air of not over the 1/5 of the lower limit of the combustibility. However, the orderization not required the harmful use of the further the processing of liquid petroleum gas if they will serve no useful purpose of the warning agent. And such use of the further processing lower limits of combustible more commonly used liquid petroleum gases are propane 2.25 to 15% butane 1 55%. These figures represent the volumetric percentage of the gas mixture in each of the case. Use of 1 pound of ethanol merceptin per 10,000 gallons of liquid petroleum gas. If it's sufficient to meet the quantity of the paragraph, any other order does not meet is not prohibited such as enough to meet the requirements of paragraph H. Order in favor of the additional paragraph of the H11 section offered, but the meat must ensure that enough order with the tank car during the course of the transportation must have the procedure in place. Ensure the quantity of the test method and measure the amount of the order in liquefied petroleum gas. Ensure that when the organization liquid petroleum gas is manually injected, the required amount of the order is added. Ensure the organization liquid petroleum gas automatically inject the equipment, the calibration, check with the conductor to ensure the required amount of the order is consistently added. Alright, 173 continued. Alright. Jake wrote, corrective action needed to ensure that enough of the odorization remained with the tank car during the course of the transportation, so to increase the amount of the odor and adequate liquid petroleum gas reserve special quantities of material having a primary and secondary division. 2 inflammable gas hazard with a single human the tanker car's interior pipes and loading unloading while sampling devices, guiding devices with an opening with a passage landing with exceeding 60 hundredths of the diameter with must be equivalent successful with a single unit tank with a construction with the January 1st, 1972. Gauge devices must conform with the paragraph no later than January 1st, 2006. Protective housing cover with the must be provided with the opening with weather or the proof of the cover with each of the pressure relief valve that is concentric with a discharge pressure relief valve that has an area less equal than the valve outlet. Class 109 tank with a car. The tank's car is manufactured with aluminum nickel plate with the iron or not. Authorized special requirements for the clearing. Tank cars built after September 30, 1991 must have the insulation system consisting of 2 inches of glass with the fiber plates, 2 inches of the ceramic fiber. The tanker cars must have the excessive flow valve of the interior pipes of the liquid per discharge valve of the tanker cars constructed in .105A 500W. Specification may be marked as .105A 300W with the specification size type of the closing pressure relief valve required marked in the specification .J. .105J 500W. Tank cars may be authorized packaging and prescribed the subchapter of the transportation 1017 chlorine 23 poisonous inhalation hazard of B on RQ. The tank car must also meet the specification requirement of the tank car with combination safety relief valve that start to discharge with the pressure of 360 degrees 360 psi refer to 350 psi of the start to discharge with the pressure system setting must be the marked with the pressure relief valve with performance applicable versions of the AR specification tanker cars IBR 1717 chapter. Special requirements for the hydrogen sulfide with each of the multiple tank car must be equivalent to the adequate pressure relief device for the fusible plug type of the having yield temperature over the 170 degrees Celsius, less than 157 degrees Celsius, 50 Fahrenheit. Each of the devices must be restrained with extrusion of the fusible alloy leak plug with 130 degrees Fahrenheit. The threaded solid plug must be sealed at each of the valve outlet. Additional metal cover that must protect all valves. Special requirements for the nitrosol and the chloride single human the tanker cars. They are associated service equipment such as the venting, loading, unloading valve. The closing pressure relief valve that must be made with a metal-clad material that not subject to the rapid deterioration by loading in a multiple tank car of the cars must be nickel-clad with a heavily closing pressure relief the device incorporated with a fusible plug having yield temperature of 175 degrees Fahrenheit with the reclosing pressure relief devices must vapor to 130 degrees Fahrenheit. Special requirements of hydrogen. Each tanker car must equip with one or more pressure relief devices. The discharge outlet with each of the pressure relief valves must connect with the manifold having non-obstructed discharge area with at least 1.5 times the total discharge of the pressure relief devices to connect with the manifold. All manifolds connected to a single common header with the non-obstructed discharge point upward of extending above the top of the car. The header and the header outlet must each of them have the non-obstructed discharge area with at least one each of the total discharge area manifolds connected to the header outlet must be equipped with the ignition device with the instantly ignite the hydrogen discharge through the pressure relief device. Special requirements for the carbon dioxide refrigerator liquid and nitrous oxide. The refrigerator liquid each tanker car must have the insulation system so the thermal conductancy with not more than 0.613 with the kilojoule per hour per square meter with the per Celsius degree with the BTUs per square foot per hour with the per degree of Fahrenheit temperature differential tank car must be equipped with one reclosing pressure relief valve which are the discharge pressure for the next 75% of the tank of the pressure for the not reclose with the pressure relief valve to have the rupture of the design the birth of the pressure left of the tank of the test pressure with the discharge capacity each of the pressure relief device sufficient to prevent building up pressure tank of the excess of the 82.5% of the test pressure for the tank of the tanks must be equipped with the regulating valve of the open pressure design C24 350 psi with the .105A 500W tank with the pressure design C 400 psi. A405, A600W with each of the regulation valve of the pressure relief device must be in the final discharge pipe and outside of the protective housing. On the Millennium Guardian Angel, Millennium Silver Star. 173, 315 compressed gas of the cargo tank and the portable tank. Liquid compressed gas they are transported UN portable tank without specification. Portable tank with the cargo tank must be prepared in accordance with section 173, 32, 33, subpart E with the subpart G with the part 1A subchapter of the application of the cryogenic liquid with the cargo tank 173, 318 with the marking of the requirements of the portable tank with the cargo tank with the 172, 326, 328 with the subchapter is applicable. UN portable tank with the UN portable tank with barrels loaded offered with the transportation according with the portable tank provision T50, 172, 106, 102 with the subchapter of the cargo tank with the specification portable tank with the cargo tank of the specification portable tanks must be loaded offered with the transportation according with the following table. And then it shows that tables. Maximum permitted filing outside of the cargo portable tank containing transport, butadiene, and stable level liquid petroleum gas as follows. Organization of liquid petroleum gas have the order as required with the paragraph that indicates the position distinct with the order with the presence of the gas down with the concentrate with the air with the not over 1/5 of the lower limit of the combustibility. However, the organization that will cover the harmful with the use of the flour processing liquid petroleum gas as it will serve the useful purpose of the warning age if it is further processed with the lower limit of the combustibility more commonly used liquid petroleum gases. Propane 2.15% butane 1.55% of the figure with the representative of the metric of the percent of the gas mixture with each for the case used 1 pound with the ethanol substitute and 10,000 gallons of liquid petroleum gas considered with the decision to meet the quantity of the paragraph B with any other order and prohibited it is so long as there is enough to meet the quantity of the paragraph of the order and fade with the cargo tank for the portable tank may be transported with the refinery gas plant with the high plant terminal with addition paragraph B11 section offered to make sure they know enough of the order and will remain in the cargo tank, portable tank during the course of the transportation. Shipper may have the procedure to play with each of the quantity of the testing method, the measure for the amount of the order and liquid petroleum gas, ensure that the organization of liquid petroleum gas manually and check with the required for the order is being added. Ensure the organization of liquid petroleum gas automatically inject the equipment, the calibration, and check with the connected. Ensure the required amount of the order is consistently added. Ensure the quality control made for the play for the make for the person with the receive of the cargo tank with the portable tank that have been subject to any addition that could leave with the course of the packaging and the receive of the new recently cleaned cargo tank with the portable tank to notify with the information that a person filling the package is implementing the control measure to ensure that the report and potential order and fade in his address. Inspect cargo tank and the portable tank at the time of the oxidation corrosion tank during the action even to ensure that enough the order remains the cargo tank of the portable tank during the course of the transportation so to increase the amount of the order and add with the liquid petroleum gas except for the otherwise provided with the loading of liquefied gas for the cargo tank. Portable tank shall determine the weight of the suitable liquid gas usually by the vapor pressure. 115 degrees must not exceed the design pressure for the cargo tank. Portable tank container. Average filling limits of liquefied gas is prescribed 173 324B with the part except for the requirements do not apply to tank containing carbon dioxide, refrigerated liquid, and nitrous oxide with the refrigerated and liquid side of the tank is required with equipment suitable to pressure for the control valve that may not be filled with the will exceeding 95% of the volumetric capacity of the tank. A tank containing ethane, refrigerated liquid, ethanol, propane, mixture with the refrigerated liquid, hydrogen chloride, refrigerated liquid, so the tank must be filled with the valve with at least the 2% with the below the inlet pressure of the leaf valve with the pressure control valve with the under condition incipient opening with the tank of the level of attitude. If loading of the cargo tank, the portable tank containing liquefied with the gas of the determine the weight of the gross weight of the shell be checked with the filling with the disconnected E for the engine of the gross weight shall be calculated with the tank capacity tear weight with the set forth the metal with the required with the specification of the maximum filling density of permitted for the material being loaded into the tank with the set forth in the table of paragraph A with section. If the loading of the cargo tank is portable tank containing liquefied gas with the determined added with the liquefied level device and each tank of the compartment with the shall have the thermometer over there so for the internal liquid the temperature that can easily determine the amount of the liquid of the tank shall be with the 60 degrees Fahrenheit liquid level that should exceed the level corresponding with the maximum fill density permitted material being loaded with the tank with the set forth in the table of A, paragraph A section. When loading of the cargo tank, is portable tank containing liquefied gas to determine only the fix of the length of the tip of the tube, the other fix of the liquid level to indicate that the device should be arranged with the function level not to exceed the maximum permitted value in the prescribed in the table of the paragraph A with the section loading shall be stop the device function containers of the liquid and which for the determined mean of the fixed length dip tube of the gouging device shall not be acceptable storage of the cargo vessel and commerce with the subject of the jurisdiction of the United States with the Coast Guard. Nothing contained in the section shall be contributed and prohibit the transportation cargo flows, carrier ferries, motor vehicles landing at the well with containers not in the cargo tanks. Liquid level either which have the determinative the mix of the fixed dip tube device with each of the cargo tank portable tank except the tip tank filled with the wave that must be equipped with one more of the device that is described in the following table with the indicating accurate maximum permanent liquid. The additional gauging device that may installed with the may not be with the primary control of the filling the cargo tank. The portable tank with the gauge class with the non permitted with any cargo tank. The portable tank primary gauging device so even the cargo tank with less than 3,500 gallons water capacity except for the longitudinal location specification paragraph H through H3 specification section provided with the tank length of the does not exceed the time tank with the diameter of the cargo unit filled unloaded with the 24 hours each of the filling of the tank. The design pressure for liquid with the level of the gauging device with the least of the equal the design pressure of the tank with the primary gauge of the device the adjustable must be handled with adjustment with the end of the tube with the wheel within the location specified the paragraph H of the section least one of the landing of the transporter with the filling level of the corresponding average loading temperature exterior means must be provided with any adequate adjustment with the gauging of the device that must be legible permanently marked with an increment if exceeding 20 Fahrenheit degrees or not exceeding 20 psi gauge tank for the carbon dioxide refrigerated liquid and nitrous oxide refrigerated liquid indicate the maximum level in which the tank must be filled with the level of temperature above 20 degrees Fahrenheit without the practical and so much of the gauge device information must be legibly permanently marked on a plate affixed for the tank with adherent adhesives for the gauge device. A dip tank device consists of the valve of the tube with the valve of the outer end of the intake with the alignment with an outer over the time over the 60,000th of an inch in diameter. Fixed length over the dip tube. The within the intake must be located with the dip midway with the tank both the longitudinal laterally maximum the maximum permitted filling of the tank with the under tanks of liquid petroleum gas. The intake must be located at the level of reach for the landing with the tank of the loading the maximum filling density of 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Each tank is used exclusive with the transportation carbon dioxide refrigerated liquid and nitrous oxide refrigerated liquid on opening of the pressure gauge that could be restricted to the inside of the tank with the orifice now larger than the 60,000th of an inch of the diameter for carbon dioxide refrigerated liquid and nitrous oxide refrigerated liquid service with the pressure gauge that need only the each for the during filling operation. Each tank must be prepared and one more with the pressure relief valves which is unless otherwise specified. And this part of the must be spring loaded with each of the valve must be arranged with the discharge upward. I'm trying to stroke the outside of the protective housing, preventing impingement of the escaping the gas of the pound the tank of each for the chlorine. Take of the protective housing must be compliant with the requirements set forth in the applicable specification. The safety relief valve have the tank of the must be in the following condition. The total relieving capacity determined in the following formulas to section 5 of the CGA. S12 must be sufficient to prevent maximum pressure for the tank of the more than 120% of the design pressure for the flowing capacity of the rating of the testing mark in accordance with section 5, 6, and 7 of the CGA panel S1 to the insulated tank of the relief required relieving capacity for the relief of the device must be the same with the uninsulated tank on the left of the insulation will remain in place for the effectively under the fire conditioning. In this case, the UN portable tanks used for the insulated tanks must be covered with a sheet metal jacket less than 16 gauge thickness of the UN portable tank with the receiving capacity of the valve may reduce the base of the insulation system, and the insulation system must remain effective at all temperature of the 1200.2 Fahrenheit with the jacket with the material having the metal of the 1292 degrees Fahrenheit with greater. MT 330 with the cargo tank with the has relief valve with the first leave of the fuel on the day of the November 27th, 1928 may be continuing to the safety relief valve that must be arranged at the minimum of the possibility temperature and pressure setting with adjusting external of the valve. The safety relief valve that must be provided with the beam with the sealing adjusting as it must be sealed. Each safety relief valve with an portable tank of the other than UN portable tank that must be started with the discharge pressure no higher than 100 temperature for the tank design pressure no later than design pressure specified in paragraph A of the section or the gas. Transporting for the UN portable tank with the liquefied compressed gas of the construction conform with the requirements of 178.276 for the subchapter and left the relief device conform with 178.276E for the subchapter. Example the UN portable tank with the each of the safety relief valve with the plainly permanently marked with the pressure for the PSI with the receiver of the discharge of the actually rate the discharge of the device for the cubic feet permanent gas air with the 60 Fahrenheit with the 14 psi with the manufacturer name of the trade name of the catalog name of the start of the discharge valve marking with the visible after valve with the install of the rated discharge of the capacity device the determining pressure for the 120 psi with the design pressure for the tank of the UN portable tank the exchange for the pressure relief device must be clearly permanently marked as specified in 178.274 F1 of this chapter. Each safety relief valve must have the direct communication from the vapor space in the tank. Each of the connection from the safety relief valve must be decide to provide with the required rate of the discharge through the safety relief valve. Seven of them reserve the 8. Each pressure relief valve outlet provide with the protective device to prevent the entrance of the accumulation of the dirt and water of the device may not be impeded the flow through the valve. The pressure relief device must be designed to prevent the entry of the former matter of the liquid like and development of the dangerous excess pressure. On tanks, carbon dioxide with the refrigerated liquid and nitrous oxide with the liquid of the any of the safety relief devices must be installed located with the cooling effect with the contents will prevent the effective operation of the device. In addition, the required safety relief valve of these tanks may be equipped with one or more of the pressure control device. Each tank with a carbon dioxide refrigerated liquid may be equipped with one more non-closure pressure relief device set for the function pressure not over the 2 times more or less than 1.5 times the design pressure for the tank of each portion connected liquid pipe with the hazard hosing with over the end of the both end to provide with the safety relief valve without intervening with the shutoff valve to prevent excessive hydrostatic pressure that could burst with the pipe and hose. Subject with the condition of the paragraph the A section of the methanol with chloride with the sulfur dioxide with the optional with portable tank with one or more fusible plugs and examine the burrows of those for the associated with the ministry of the and maybe you the ticket and play the safety relief valve with the spring-loaded type of the fusible plug with the plugs in the core with the CGA pamphlet S1.2 with the prevent the pressure for some rise in the tank of the more than 120% of the design pressure. If the tank is over than 30 inches long and must have the total specified safety discharge. The safety relief valve with the chlorine cargo tank must conform with one of the following standards to the Chlorine Institute. I'm going to skip that. Contains some of the storage container liquefied petroleum gas with a propane chart with the 5% of the capacity left in the intent of the permanent installation on the consumer premise if it may be shipped with the motor carrier under the following conditions. Each container must have reconstructed by complying with the requirements of the Section 8 of the ASME code that must be marked with the indicated with the compliant with the manual with the specification reference of the code of the container, but in compliance with either of the edition within 1943 that as authorized. Each container must be equipped with a safety device complying with the requirements of safety device container specified in the National Fire Protection Agency 58 liquid petroleum gas code. Concerning that they must be brave, they otherwise secure them to the vehicle. Relative to the motion of the transit, if the valve of the outer favor, they must be adequate protected against the damage during transportation. Storage contained within the water capacity 500 gallons with the liquefied petroleum gas. Now, more than 5% of the capacity of the intent of the permit of the installation consumer the premise with the transported private motor carrier. The one way for them the consumer the premise for the container owner with the near facility with the following conditions that each of the container must be able to construct and comply with the requirements of Section 8 of the ASME code with must be marked with an indicate the compliance with the manual specification in respect of the codes. Maximum permitting time limiting to the density with the must not exceed with the specified paragraph B with the section prior loading with the motor vehicle with the container with the business spec with the train, the qualified person with the least corrode with the braid of the end of the dents and the distortion of the defect of the other condition may be ran with the container under the transportation record of the inspection legibly signed with the date and the person will perform the inspection and retain with the container only for 2 years of the signature of the on the inspection record of the representative with the certification of the container that would remain if it's unsafe for the transportation has material relation record of the inspection including the date of the inspection inspector. His record for the container information such as the telephone number, the container serial number, the container size with the water capacity is the estimated amount of the hazard material origin of the destination. Shipment with the only one of the storage contained with the transporter with the motor vehicle with the loading of the motor vehicle with the container lifted and sling with which must completely wrapped around the container with lifted level with the not be with the slings must be raised weight sufficient to accommodate the container landing in the show that should be the ASME B39 point on the slings used and lifting purposes must be visually inspected the property each of the youth and showing evidence stairs and phrase other signs of success the wear may not be the storage container must be secured the motor vehicle with the container completely within the envelope of the vehicle with the design intended extend beyond with the vehicle. The frame of the storage container must be placed with the vehicle in the manner of which of the cradle will ensure the weight of the plate within supporting legs during transportation. The storage container must be secured and mounted with the movement of the transportation bracing must conform with the requirements of paragraph G1 3 with the section 177 83 or A34A with the subchapter with section 6 of the 5.2 National Fire Protection Agency 58 with liquid petroleum gas code shaft and chain with you with the tie downs must be riveted exceed with the maximum load with the transporter with the conformance of 1 to 393 100 and 393 through 393 106. Towing trailer sheet with the transport the storage contained with the corner with the paragraph through J2 with the provide the end of the protection with the corner with the quantum with statute 393-86 with the title of the storage contained less than 1,042 pounds with the water capacity that may be shipped with the liquid petroleum gas complying with the dot filling density. Non-specification cargo taking me with the corner with the addition of standard section 8 with the ASME code effectively fabricated with the maybe with the transportation of the liquefied petroleum gas provided meets all the following conditions. Most having a minimum design pressure no later on lower than 250 psi gauge capacity of 13,247 5 liters or 3,500 water gallons. They must have the manufacturing components with the section 8 of the ASME code with the January 1st, 1981, according to the ASME nameplate with the manufacturer's data report must conform with the applicable provision NFA and National Fire Protection Agency 58 with the extent of the provision National Fire Protection Agency 58 that exists inconsistent with the requirements of Part 178 and 180 with the subchapter. It must be inspected to have the equipment according with the subpart the Part 180 of the subchapter of the specification MC 331 cargo tank motor vehicles except as provided in the paragraph of the K with the must operate with the exclusion of the interstate common for the include the otherwise the including its operation of the motor carrier otherwise engaged with the interstate commerce with the shape with the operation permit the level not including the incorporating a subchapter of the January 1st, 1981, a cargo tank motor vehicle operative with the unauthorized with the section may cross the state line travel with the qualified assembled repair maintenance with the requalification facility. The cargo tank may not be unclean with the purge with the may not contain liquefied petroleum gas 5% of the water capacity of the cargo tank of the fifth vehicle that isn't supplied with the fuel with the cargo tank with enough of the fuel within the 5% of the cargo tank water capacity may be carried to the trip of the fuel from the facility. They must have the venue to transport of liquid petroleum gas prior to January 1st, 1981. Must be able to conform with all the forms of the subchapter and anhydrous ammonia must not be the offer of the transportation transported specification MC 330 331 cargo tank constructed quench temper steel with the acceptance of every within provide except as provided in the paragraph. The ammonia must have the minimum water content of the 2/10% of the weight of the addition with the water must be made with the use of the same concentrated deionized distilled water, except the otherwise provided with the paragraph. Each person offered the transportation, transport, and anhydrous ammonia will perform the periodic analysis of the prescribed water content ammonia analyzed that must be performed and sample the ammonia that the storage taken in at least once every 70 days. Each time ammonia is added to the storage tank, whichever less frequent the time of the cargo tanks are loaded with the sample of the ammonia. Taking one load of the cargo tank with at least 10 of the 1-for-1 cargo tank for the 24 hours, whichever less frequent. The same frequency described in paragraph 1-2 with the 2 of this section. The sample taken with the loading line with the cargo tank with the water is added at the time of the loading of the sample. The analysis must be taken with the point with the loading line with between the water injection equipment of the cargo tank with the positive prohibition that must be made to ensure the water injection equipment operative with the water injection equipment and become the inoperative of the suitable corrective maintenance that must be performed and sampled from first load of the cargo tank must be analyzed with the prescribed water content. Analyzed method of the water content described in the CGA G22 tentative standard method of the determined minimum 2 times of the water pass and anhydrous ammonia. Anhydrous records indicate the result of the anhydrous taken within required with the paragraph must be retained within the 2 years most often inspected with the representative of the department that each person received the anhydrous ammonia containing 2/10 of the percent of the water with the weight with the level of the transportation hazards of ammonia without performing the prescribed analysis of the water content provided ammonia received with a certain 5 with containing 2% of the water prescribed 172.203 H11 and 1877 of subchapter. Amount of the water ammonia has been reduced for the meaning of the general and cargo tank with the commonly known with the nurse tank with the conservative implement husbandry transportation and anhydrous ammonia the operative of the private motor carrier exclusively agricultural purpose except for the specification requirements about 178 of the subchapter. If the minimum design pressure for the 250 PSI gauge the requirements of Section 8 of the ASME Code, 171 of the subchapter of the mark with the ASME plate with the equivalent of the pressure relief valve and the requirements of CGA standard SAS 1 2 with the paint of white aluminum had the capacity of 3,000 gallons or left load with the filling density of greater than 56%. Surely man with the farm waggle the meat for the paragraph of the M3 with the section if it conforms with the requirement from part 172 subchapter except for the shipping paper that recorded in the not the market black card 1 ends over the container valve fitting of the regulators gauge of the air prudency preventing the marketing of the black card with the properly placed and visible nurse tanks with the missing and eligible the ASME plate, the nurse tanks with the missing eligible illegible ASME place may be continued to be operative provided to the following requirements. Ensure that the nurse tank is undergo the external visual inspection testing in accordance with 184.07D over this subchapter. Each nurse tank with the thickness of the test in accordance with 184.07.1 with the subchapter nurse tank of the capacity of the 1,500 gallon must have the minimum head thickness of the 230,000 inch minimum shelf thickness of 200,039 inches of the nerve tank capacity of 1,500 gallons must have the minimum thickness of 250,000 nurse tank with the thickness and the test reading less than the specified paragraph at any point but then been removed the hazard material service. Each nurse tank is pressurized in accordance with 184.07G with the subchapter the minimum testing pressure of 365 psi with the minimum pneumatic testing is not authorized. The nurse tank must be inspected for testing and the person meeting the requirements 180.409D with the subchapter further. Each of the nursing tank must have the testing performed at least once every 5 years after the completion of the initial testing. After each of the nurse tests successfully passed the verbal thickness of the pressure testing well, the repair with the tank are prohibited after the nursing tank successfully passed visual thickness of the pressure test and must be marked from the cones 1-880-415 permanently marked with near the test with the inspection marking with the unique own identification number the left with numbers at least a half inch height and the width. Each nursing taken over to maintain a copy of the test inspection repair with the inspected test report with the containment and the result of the test of the meet with the requirements of 184.17B. Made available to represent upon the request of the field truck mounted with the tank with a non-dot specification cargo tank and the is securely mounted on the field with the truck is authorized under the upon conditions. Tank conforms all the requirements of paragraph M1 of the section 7 of the requirements of paragraph M14 with the design apply. Tank is inspected test in accordance with subpart E the part 180 subchapter the MC331 cargo tank. Tank is restricted the rural road to areas around within 50 miles of the fertilization distribution point with the nurse tank is for the purpose of the section with the field tank of the mean of the vehicle with the nurse tank of the mount through the design with the overall operating drive in highly terrain. Specifically, vehicle must be outfitted with a stiffer suspension. For example, the additional spring of the airbag would be necessary for the comparable to the road vehicle rear axle ratio to provide the gear load torque with braking system and the tire with the design there ensure the stability of the highly terrain. The field truck must have a low annual override mileage and must be exclusively agricultural purpose of the emergency discharge control of the cargo tank motor vehicle to liquefied compressed conservative with required emergency discharge control equipment. Each cargo tank motor vehicle with liquid compressed gas service must have the emergency discharge capability specified lifting and lift specified in the following table. Cargo tank motor vehicle other than the meter delivery and service with the cargo tank motor vehicle and other the meter the delivery service must have the means to automatically shut off the flow of the product with the need of the human intervention within 20 seconds. intentional release call for the completion, separation of the liquid delivery. However, the passive shutdown the capacity of the design flow with the product through the bypass valve and acceptably authorized the subject of the design with immediately automatically shut off with the product with the flow with the specified certified design certification engineer with the certification must consider the any specification original command one of the manufacturer must explain with the passive means shut off with the flow of the product and operative with the must also outline the property temperature with the pressure for the type of the product within. Well, the design of the means automatically shut off products flow of the certified design certification engineer must specification original component of the manufacturer must explain the mass means to shut off the flow of the product and must also outline parameters of the temperature pressure type of the products within the passive means of the shut off of the flow of the product design operative with all components of the discharge system and integral design with the include the certification copy with the design certification must provide with the owner cargo tanker motor vehicle which is equipped with install the installation must be performed under the supervision registered inspector and level the equipment install the remove this problem of the regular in operation from the register of the inspector must certify the equipment install the test if possible to do without damage to the equipment according to the department design certification engineer certification register and inspector will provide certification to the owner of the cargo tank motor vehicle. Alright, cargo tank motor vehicle is metered with the delivery system when recorded by the table of the paragraph at the end one of the section of the cargo tank motor vehicle must have the off-the-road truck with a remote with a code for the internal self-composing stop with a shut-off of the valve of the motor with the auxiliary motor equipment upon activation of the qualified person attending the unloading of the cargo tank motor vehicle off the truck remote shut-off of the mouth of the reliable the distance of 40.75 feet or 150 feet off truck remote shutdown activation device must be capable of reopening with the internal self-closing stop valve with emergency activation. The emergency discharge control of the equipment must be installed with the owner of the supervision registered inspection of the wires the transmitter receiver should be the transmitter with the code for the internal self-closing stop valve shut off all the motive auxiliary power equipment the distance of 300 feet with the optimal condition of emergency discharge control. The equipment does not apply with the wire transmitter receiver that must be tested with the demonstration for the function maximum length over the disc delivery. However, the registered inspector must certify the remote control equipment and install the according with the original component of the manufacturer specification testing in accordance with the paragraph of the N31 with the section registered inspector must provide the owner of the cargo tank motor vehicle with certification. System. When the transportation meter with the receiver with the system that is satisfactory to requirement of the paragraph N15 section is most closely internal self-closing stop valve to shut off all the mode with the auxiliary power of the equipment. You then qualified person within 10 of the unloading operation prevented with doing at least one of every 5 minutes of the testing. Certification must be specified in paragraph N3 of the section. Compliance date with each specification MC3331 tank of the motor vehicle to certification construction 2 or more year for the January 1st, 1999. Appropriate emergency discharge capability specified in paragraph N MC330 331 non-specification cargo tank motor vehicle authorized paragraph C K of the of this section may be operated and left with the appropriate emergency discharge control capacity that specified in paragraph and with no later than the day of the first special with the pressure retest required for the January 1st 2000 number NOPC no PC 330 331 no specification car tank and motor vehicle they authorized on paragraph the K of the section may be operated after July 1st 2006 unless it has been equipped with the equipment discharge control equipment specified in paragraph the M with no MC 330 331 car tank and motor vehicle within the capacity over the 350 and 3,500 gallons with immediate delivery service that may be operated within the left of the appropriate gesture over the control capacity specified with the paragraph that no later than January 1st 2003 day of the first schedule of the president of the retest of the required for the January 1st 2001 whichever this earlier. Chlorine cargo tank motor vehicle. Each of the cargo tank of the motor vehicle to use the transportation chlorine must meet the requirements of the following: any of the hose piping and tubing before loading and unloading, mounting with the carried motor vehicle that may not be tapped with any of the valve and west for the cap of all the event and which except for the time of the unloading except the time loading unloading pipe connecting any valve must be closed and with a screw plug which if they obtain with the otherwise fastened to the vent misplacement. Each chlorine, the cargo tank motor vehicle, the angle valve that must be tapped with the be leak free with not less than 220 feet psi gauge the dry air insert in air with the gas of the installation there over the 2 years when performing the required periodic retest with 18407 C. Subject prior to each of the load of the cargo tank motor vehicle that must be inspected with the angle of the valve of the gasket joint that must be examined and tested and the pressure not less than 50 psi gauge determined with the non-leak in the proper condition of the transport. Any leaks must be corrected before the cargo tank motor vehicle is offered to transportation. The excess flow valve of the cargo tank motor vehicle may be the requirements of the paragraph at the end of the section fusible elements. Each MC 330 331 non-specification cargo tank authorized with the paragraph K with this section must be thermal dimension marines with each of the internal self-closing the shop valve that is specified in 178 337 884 manifold of the authorized cargo tank containing the iron hydrogen ammonia provided an individual cargo tank equipped with the pressure relief device and valve with the gouging device required in paragraph H and I. With the section each valve must be tightly closed while the cargo tank is in transit. Each cargo tank must be filled separately. Alright, 173 316.